This an all-out blitz, real hard hits, them other podcast trash, we gon' make them all quit. We cover all the topics with intelligence and logic. I know you wanna score, but ID gon' stop it. We from Texas, so that mean that we Texans. Breaking down the X's and O's, our profession. No complaining, just training, you see the progression. They had a Pro Bowl for talk shows, we get selected. We gon' celebrate every win like a birthday. Ray J with the news, first with all the updates. Spin move on the competition, yeah, we juking them. You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown, we not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they bout to stampede.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Texans Fan Battle Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Matthew Briggs. And as always, I got my amazing trio. First off, I got Mr. VT. What's going on, bud?
What up, what up, what up?
And my A1, since day one, been from the bomb, now we're here. I got Mr. Crenshaw.
What's up, everybody?
And before I introduce, we got a wonderful guest, but before I introduce him, I just wanted to take a couple seconds out of the podcast and to say I lost my father this weekend, so I wanted to just kind of say I love you, Pops, and you'll never be forgotten. But on a lighter note, let's introduce Mr. John Crumpler. How you doing, sir?
Matthew, I'm doing well. I'm sorry to hear that. We'll definitely be praying for you this week. But guys, I'm excited to come on with you guys. Super impressive what you've been doing every week this offseason. I've definitely tuned in a couple times. The production value of your show, what you're doing, it looks really good. And thank you for having me on. I'm excited to talk a little Texans of you guys. The last week, I think we've all made it to the end here. This is the last time we have to talk about Texans football this season before training camp, and we're going to get some real storylines finally coming our way.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Well, before we talk Texans, that's a little bit NFL news. That sound good to you?
Let's do it.
And I'll let Crenshaw take over for. I'll take the place of Crenshaw, and he can take the place. So he has big shoes to fill, but he'll take the place of me.
All right, we got the NFL news. All right, so no long-term deal for Tony Pollard, Saquon Barkley, and Josh Jacobs. John, I'm gonna start with you. Which running back you think is most shocking, and which running back is more deserving of an extension?
That's a great question. I think for me, it's a game of one of these things is not like the other, and that would be Tony Pollard compared to these other two guys. Tony Pollard, obviously, with a breakout season last year, and a lot less career carries than Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs. The guy that stands out to me is Saquon Barkley. I thought Saquon Barkley was really the offensive engine for a Giants team that made the playoffs last year. I thought that a lot of the things they were able to do with Daniel Jones on the ground and in the passing game was creating some hesitation and some misdirections around the threat of Saquon, both through the ground and the air. I thought that was a guy. If you'd asked me 6 months ago, I would have said, oh, you're going to franchise tag Daniel Jones. You're going to get Saquon on like a 3-year deal. And instead it looks the other way. So to me, pretty surprising. And if there's a guy who deserves it, Josh Jacobs, first team All-Pro, 25 years old. But all of a sudden it doesn't matter how young or how talented you are. The NFL seems to be shifting towards a running back by committee model, unfortunately for us fantasy football players.
Big hit, right?
Yeah. So, ET, what do you think about this? Tell me your thoughts.
So I really thought that Josh Jacobs was going to get a deal because of his performance last year. I was expecting Saquon Barkley not to get a deal because of his injury history. He had a great rookie year, and he obviously had a great year last year. But when you're that injured, how big of a contract do you want to give out? We saw what happened with Ezekiel Elliott. We saw what happened with Todd Gurley. We've seen what happened even with CMC, even though he's back. You give a big contract to these RBs, and they get hurt. Their job is to be the beast on the NFL. And I think teams right now have to decide, listen, when they're giving a quarterback $50 million plus, can they afford to pay their running back that's sitting on the bench for an entire season? And I think what they're going to have to do right now, running backs, particularly if they want to get paid, they're going to have to figure out how to either do certain things like pass catching, like CMC, or they're going to have to possibly have some sort of special union. Mike Florio talked about this. This is actually was kind of tried to do out last year or the last negotiation, and it didn't happen. And I think that's not going to happen because the players that are being successful right now in terms of getting paid, they don't want to stop what's going on. So everyone would have to side with the running backs, quarterbacks, etc. And every position group would have to have their own union. And of course, the teams don't want that. So to me, what I see happening is I don't see any sort of negotiation here happening with running backs. What I see happening is that there'll be less running backs coming in the league in the next 2-3 years. And the lack of supply will increase the actual payout. That's what I believe.
Okay. So, Matt, what do you think should happen to the running back market? Like, what's a great alternative so these guys could be happy and still get their money?
Easy, right? Pay them. The guys that like Josh Jacobs was the leading rusher the last couple of years. Right there in the top or close near it. Like he deserves to be. Look at the quarterbacks. Look at the receivers. Look at Laremy Tunsil. He's the top of the top, and he's getting paid like it. So if you're the top of the top, these guys should be getting paid for it. The NFL is $1 billion industry. The teams are $1 billion, industries. They should start playing their players like $1 billion industries. These guys go out there, put their bodies on the line. What they're doing, especially to Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley, is just disgusting. And even Austin Eckler. It took Austin Eckler almost all season to get what he got deserved. I believe with BT, if CMC wasn't the type of player he was, he wouldn't have had that contract. So I think they're doing them wrong. I think the only way to fix it is to pay it.
Agree. I feel like Josh Jacobs should have got paid. This guy is probably been the best running back out of all these guys. He's the heart and soul of the Raiders. But we're gonna see. All right. So on to the next topic. Evan Ingram signed a long-term deal with the Jaguars. John, give me your thoughts on that. Last year he had a great year. He helped the passing game, helped those guys win the division. Do you think this was a good move for them, or you think it's going to bite them in the ass?
Yeah, absolutely. To start, I want to tackle this from a league-wide perspective. I think it's going to be interesting to see what Doug Peterson did with Evan Ingram. Do we start to see a trend in how offensive coaches are willing to utilize tight ends around the league? I think we're kind of seeing this with the Patriots right now. They went out and got Mike Gesicki. Are you willing to have a tight end that maybe he's not a blocker, but you have him essentially as that third receiver, and you go hunt those mismatches as defenses go smaller towards these passing sets? And something they found a lot of success with Evan Ingram. And I think that's a good contract for Jacksonville, especially in the scope of this is a win now team. This is a team that kind of needs to capitalize their window. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence still on a very cheap contract this year, but as soon as he finishes this season, he's going to be eligible for a contract extension. I personally believe he's going to be in the conversation for the top 5 to 7 quarterbacks if you don't have him already there. And, this is a pass catcher who presents a unique mismatch, who Trevor Lawrence has some good chemistry with. And more importantly, if we're looking at how the Jacksonville Jaguars have a path to winning, I think they're going to be the favorite in the AFC South. But if they want to win the AFC, you look at that defensive line, and they don't have the bodies there to pressure the elite quarterbacks like a Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. And they freed up over $10 million in cap space for this year. I actually think a number a good bit bigger than that. So can they go get one of those mercenary type pass rushers like a Yannick Ngakoue, like a Jadeveon Clowney, now that they paid Evan Ingram? So I think it's a win now and a win later for a team that is optimizing a rookie quarterback contract. I like that deal for Jacksonville.
Okay. So VT, what do you think about the deal, and who do you see as our Evan Ingram this year?
Well, I think the deal, honestly, some people were saying it's an overpay, but it's really not. It's essentially $8 million a year. Because obviously those incentives are if the Jags go to the Super Bowl and all sorts of nonsense like that. So I think the deal is actually perfect. We paid Dalton Schultz right around $7 million, a little less, I think, right? So it's on the money. If anything, he's obviously hoping that he can hit those incentives. And he surprised me because I used to call him Butterfingers. He had a drop issue situation, and boy, did he shut me up last year. So I think he deserved the extension. I think Dalton Schultz could potentially be that Evan Ingram. The difference is Dalton Schultz can actually block. Evan Ingram doesn't block. He is really just a pass catcher. But I think what the Jags have done is they surrounded Lawrence with enough weapons where if one goes down or double teamed, he still has plenty to go. I mean, you got Christian Kirk, who surprised a lot of people. You have Evan Ingram, who surprised me. You bring on Ridley. You have ETN. They pretty much got a stacked team. We talk about how many weapons Tua has. Is everyone really talking about how many weapons they gave Trevor Lawrence? So he's got a lot of tools to succeed. And I think John is right on the money on where the issue is. It's pass rush. Trayvon Walker has not been what they need for the first overall pick. Josh Allen, hasn't been what he needed. So pass rush is the issue. And it's not because they haven't spent the capital to acquire these dudes. They just haven't produced. So that is their challenge. But on offense, I think they're rocking.
Okay. So, Matt, what are those guys saying that the Jaguars fan better about Evan Ingram? What are they saying? Tell us something that we don't know.
They call him the GOAT. They call him the best tight end in the division, which is a little nonsense because if your name's not Travis Kelce, you're nowhere near that echelon, right? Like nobody's touching Travis Kelce just by a mile. But I mean, I can see why they're excited, right? The guy, like John and BT both said, great mix matches in the offense because who are you going to double team? You're going to double team Kirk. You're going to double team Ridley. I mean, it leaves Lawrence just feeding the ball to multiple players. And hopefully we can get that in Dalton Schultz. Hopefully Dalton Schultz becomes our Evan Ingram where we franchise tag him and sign him to a long-term deal. That's the only thing we can, hopefully see.
Okay, all right. So, big news this week in the AFC South. A Texans legend, DeAndre Hopkins signed a 2-year deal with the Tennessee Titans, $26 million worth of $2 million. John, give me your thoughts on that. Post off the wide receivers in this division. Talk a little bit about D-Hop and talk about a little bit about the wide receivers in this division as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I'll just start with DeAndre Hopkins to Tennessee. I think that's a rock star signing for the Titans. I think they actually got him on a really good value when you're talking about a ball-winning number one receiver in the NFL. This is a guy, and I know people talk about Hopkins aging, but I think this is still probably, like at worst, this is a top 20 receiver in the NFL right now. I think there's lots of good arguments that he's better than that. Like you could make top 12, top 15 arguments for DeAndre Hopkins. And he fits both of their timelines. This is a team that, I mean, they've got the defense and like kind of some offensive pieces like a Derrick Henry, like a Tannehill's at the end of his career that says, okay, we can win now. We've won a lot of games previously. There's not a huge reason to take a step back. I think DeAndre Hopkins fits that timeline to say, can I take this offense to a different level? Can you get some looks for Treylon Burks that you might not have gotten otherwise? Really explosive player coming out of Arkansas that I think will be better as a sophomore than he was last season. But at the same time, if everything goes to hell for Tennessee, and this is one of the reasons that I personally advocate that Houston should be chasing him. I think Hopkins is a great kind of the way I've tweeted it, and people have gotten mad at me, kind of an easy button for the offense, something that someone you can put out there and say, I know you can win on X, Y, and Z routes on a 3rd and 8. We know we can get that at least once a game because we're just going to put you in this situation. And having a player that a young quarterback can trust to lean on, I think is really important just in terms of how you're going to extend drives, how you're going to build confidence, and how you're going to create looks for other people as you bring someone along in that development. So whether it's Will Levis in a meaningless season or Ryan Tannehill as they try to compete in the AFC, I thought that was a great signing for D-Hop. And in terms of, you talked about the division, the AFC South, unfortunately, I do feel like this puts the Texans a tier above the other teams in the division. They don't have a true number one. We talked about or I talked about having, you can put D-Hop out there and ask him to go win on certain rounds. I feel the same way about a Michael Pittman. I feel the same way about a Calvin Ridley or some of the looks that they were able to draw up last season for a Christian Kirk or an Evan Ingram. And then when you look at our receivers, I think there's room. It doesn't mean that Houston's passing game is doomed. I don't think it doesn't mean someone could emerge. Could you see a Nico Collins emerge at the X? Could a Tank Dell, albeit I think you have to have Tank in motion, could he prove to be lethal in that role in this offense? I think that's possible, absolutely. And if you do, everything starts to fall into place because I think you've got some good space finders in Robert Woods and Dalton Schultz. But I think it places Houston in the division trying to figure out how can we be explosive as these other teams.
Okay. VT, you made your quite share of videos on D-Hop. Explain to everybody, what do you think about this signing and what do you think he's going to bring to Tennessee?
In the arms. No, I'm going to start second. All right. So basically, the reason why I made that Sarah McLachlan video is not necessarily just because of D-Hop. I think Tennessee has a history of trying to, quote unquote, take our sloppy seconds. And here's the thing. The bottom line is that their line is horrible. They had one of the worst lines in pass protection last year. And if you can't get the ball to D-Hop, what are you actually doing with any receiver, right? The last year, Tannehill got hurt because their line was horrible. You saw what happened to Derrick Henry. He had more fumbles than any other running back in the league because their line. I think what's going to happen is that D-Hop is going to get his at least 700 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns. But I'm not seeing him to be strong. Why? Because it's based on the line, honestly. It's not necessarily just because of D-Hop. It is the line. And that's why I think that D-Hop is going to go there. And I think, listen, there's a reason why there's only 3 teams considering him. When he was on the free market, I thought he was going to get 15 offers, to tell you the truth, because who wouldn't want D-Hop? But there's a reason why 3 teams were talking about him and only 2 gave them offers. So there's something going on where teams didn't want him. I think that he didn't have a choice. He went to Titans and honestly, 12 to 13 million for someone that was getting paid more than double that just a year prior. I am not thinking that he is going to be the star that Titans fans think he is going to be. I think he's going to get 700 yards. I think he's going to have 4 or 5 TDs. That's about it.
Dude, I agree that offensive line is going to be a big problem for anything that Tennessee wants to do this season. It's not something anyone's really talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's jump into the Texans news right now.
You ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 stick, you can get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride.
All right. Caesar Sportsbooks have us at 6.5 wins plus 650 to win the division. Matt, do you agree with that, or taking over, taking the under?
I'm taking the under. Would I like for us to win the division? Of course, but we're let's be honest, we're a 6-win team. There's still a lot of concerns. The linebacker crew, we don't know how that's going to be. The defensive line, we don't have no big man. We don't have a big fatty what I like to call it. We don't have a good defensive tackle quite yet. Nobody to stop the run. So if we can't stop them from running 600 yards on us a game, it's a wrap. So yes, I don't think we're quite there. Are we on the verge? Absolutely. But I don't see us quite there yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do pull like what the Jags did last year and the Sox of the world, but I just don't see it because there's too many. Like John said earlier, our receiving core is not there yet, so there's too many question marks to be that sure. So I'm gonna have to mark it up for the question marks.
Okay, I got a twofer for you, John. What are you taking the over and the under? And what do you think about Bobby Slowick? What do you think he's going to bring to this offense? Because there's a lot of uncertainty with him. What do you think he's going to bring?
That's a big question. I think the line's set perfectly, so I'm going to give credit to Vegas there. It's one where I don't feel great going in either direction. For now, as a mentor once told me, the offseason is the time to be optimistic. You've got the whole season to pile on if things don't go well. So let's take the over. Let's take the over right now. They brought enough requisite talent to be a 7-win team. I think that they have the bodies they need on the defensive line to make D'Amico Ryan's defense at least functionally work. And then you allow a really talented secondary to do the rest. Really all the offense has to do is run the ball at a high level. And if they can't do that, then a lot of people are going to get fired because they invested a ton in this offensive line and they kind of bet the house on Dameon Pierce and Devin Singletary. So I'll take the over right now. I think it is a believable football plan compared to the hopium that has been sold the last 2 years. You asked about the offense under Bobby Sloak, and I just think this is a big question. Are you asking about principles? Or are you asking about how they're going to want to win games? What do you mean from that? Let's try to break that down a little bit. I'm open to talk about this as a group.
Well, basically, what do you think he should bring to the team for this system for us to be successful?
Yeah, the things that I expect to see, everything about the Shanahan system, and I'll have an article coming about this last week. I've been trying to listen to as much as I can and try to get my thoughts together, but it is about creating easy looks and about creating hesitation for the other side of the ball, whether that is you're on defense or you're on offense. So the first thing from Slowick that I expect to look differently from last year is I expect a lot of motion in Houston. And I think they went and got guys that are going to help them do that. I think Tank is a guy that can do that. I think they have a lot of people who they're comfortable bringing out to the slot who can also be meaningful blockers in the run game to run from that. I expect a run-first offense. I think Texans fans might feel relatively nauseated at that because we've heard it for 2 years in a row that they want to be a run-first team. But this time, it's actually meaningful, in my opinion. I think there are some big investments in the interior of that offensive line. I think they have a believable – if you told me that Dameon Pierce was top 5 in the league of rushing next year, someone from the future came back and told me that, I believe them. I'd absolutely believe them. That's possible. He's talented enough. And I think Singletary as well, just to spell them. They don't have to change what they're doing when they bring Pierce off the field, which was not true last year with Rex Burkhead. And then I expect them – I think they're going to have to scheme a lot of their open looks. You just talked about how the receiver group's not weak, but I thought it was pretty interesting that they targeted guys who are more so route runners than they are burners and guys who are really going to capitalize in the short and intermediate areas of the field. So if I expect guys like Tank Dell to eat short and in motion, I think that Robert Woods and Dalton Schultz are space finders in the middle. And the question becomes, do you have a guy who can bring people deep and let that capitalize the best, or are people going to be crunching in on you? But overall, I think it's going to be a much more well-executed passing game and a run-first offense under Bobby Slowick that should hopefully make life a lot easier for the quarterback than we've seen under the last 2 systems.
All right, so this is a small debate we've been having on the show. Who do you think going to finish with the most total yards, Devin Singletary or Dameon Pierce?
Total?
Yes, total.
Does anyone think it's not Dameon Pierce?
I do. I think it's Singletary.
Can you make the Singletary argument? I want to hear it in its entirety first.
Well, I just feel like since he's on a 1-year deal, he's more hungrier, and I think he's not going to get injured because I think Dameon Pierce is going to get injured because his style of play, and I think he's going to get more opportunities, and I feel like he's a better pass blocker, so he's going to get more opportunities on the field. That's just me.
So what percentage of the snaps is Singletary playing next year?
I'm saying he's going to play 60-40.
Oh, so you think Singletary will play more snaps than Pierce?
Yes, I think he's going to play more.
And that's a bold take. I think Pierce runs angry. I think Pierce's running style is something that I don't know how you keep that on the bench. His numbers I don't think they reflect the player that he was last year because the offensive line was so bad. I'll take Dameon Pierce by quite a bit. I think he's more than competent to be in the backfield. I think Singletary, the contract that you signed him to was much more a priority backup contract than it was signaling that you think he's a centerpiece of the team's future or something you want to employ like that moving forward. It was 1 year, $3.5 million. I have every reason to believe it's Pierce. I'd be curious to hear the rest of the group as well.
VT, you on the mic? Let's go.
So, I mean, I think this is no secret that I believe that Dameon Pierce is going to have a 1,200-yard year. I've been saying that he's going to have more than 1,000 yards. He basically had 1,000 yards last year. He had 940, I believe. He was so close to having his 1,000 yards, and the only reason why he didn't is because they pulled him back to save him for this year. I don't think that Pierce is a dude that is going to get hurt easily. Did he get hurt last year? Yeah, but he would have been out for a game had it not been that we were trying to simply save everyone for this year. So I think he's going to have 1,200 yards. I think Singletary is no joke. I think he's going to get some, like about anywhere between 5 and max 7. I think he can get 500 yards here, but to say that he's going to have more yards than Pierce and that Pierce is going to go down, I just don't buy it. I think Pierce is a beast. I think he's going to be the beast for years to come. I think Singletary is a great number 2, but that's what he is. He's a number 2. And I think that one of the reasons why Pierce is great and why he's always, I think, going to be RB1 over Singletary is that Pierce can get yards through contact, after contact. He does, whether the line is garbage or whether the line is fantastic, he's going to get his yards. Singletary needs an offensive line to succeed. That's a huge, huge reason why Pierce is a beast. I also, that's why I can't believe that you really do believe that Singletary is going to do it. But
hey, man,
I like Singletary too. I think Singletary is a good football player. Like, it's something that we haven't talked about a lot. I mean, maybe those of us like who are in the more niche Texans content or really big fans of the team, we've thought about what Singletary means that he's here. But that's a really good player. And the most important thing to me is he doesn't change how you run the offense. But I'm still not quite sure that he's talented enough that you bring off Pierce's skill set, who I think he gets you yards that otherwise your offense has not earned. I think that he can do everything that you're asking from him. I think that the way the team went about signing other people, ignoring the position in the draft, I mean, even how they've had him at the podium and the way he's talking, I expect Pierce to be featured in this offense this season.
I think Pierce will get him in yards, but do not be surprised if Singletary gets more touchdowns than Pierce, just because of the passing game. And, you know, like BT Crenshaw said, he does take a beating. So I think in the red zone, they might take him out a little bit. But I think Singletary gets more touchdowns than he does yards.
all righty. Well, John, it's like we up against time here. So why don't you tell the folks where they can find your amazing work, and tell the folks that you're going to be saving lives in a couple of years.
Oh, well, next year we'll see where I end up for residency.
There we go.
Fingers crossed I could potentially end up in Houston. We'll see. But guys, you can, again, fellas, thanks for having me on. You guys do a great job with the show. Been fun to watch how it's evolved, and you bring on a ton of great guests. So honored to be amongst that group. But for anyone who doesn't know me listening, my name is John Crumpler. I'm the lead analyst at the Texans Wire. You can find all my work at the TexansWire.usatoday.com. Give me a follow on Twitter at John H. Crumpler. I'm usually spitballing some thoughts on there pretty much every day. So a lot like these guys. I'm excited for us to all have some real topics to talk about in the next few days here.
awesome.
All right, man. All right, John. Thanks for coming on, and keep a steady
Thanks
hand.
for having me. I'll do
All
my
right.
best.
Bible.
All right, everybody. That was John Crumpler there. So we're gonna bring our other special guest tonight, Mr. Alexander Weber. How you doing, sir?
Fellas, how we doing?
All
Thanks for
right.
coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Most deaf, man.
Love that sweatshirt.
Oh
Gotta
yeah,
represent. Gotta represent,
Yeah.
right?
we looking for one of them seasons this year, fellas.
We all are.
Already, man. We got Mr. Hotty Toddy man in the house tonight, man.
Man, hotty toddy.
All right.
was-
What year did you play for Ole Miss?
So 2014 and 2018 was when I was there. I actually redshirted my first year, 2014. But man, Ole Miss was some good times, man. Some good times.
Oh yeah, man. It go down out there in Oxford, man. I had my brother-in-law played there in 08, 09, and that
Okay.
town, they know everybody on the team, man, from the front to the back, man.
Yeah, they beat the Gators that year, huh? 08.
They beat the Gators that year. Yeah. They had Jevin Sneed was the quarterback and everything.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the different positions in football, man. VT, kick us off on that right there.
Yeah, so one of the questions that a lot of people were asking, because I asked them to DM me questions when we found out that you were kind enough to jump on, is how did the different off-season, what are the different off-season training things that you do depending on the position, whether it's running back, whether it's offensive line, receiver? What are you doing with the different position groups?
Well, even though it's a lot of different positions, they all tend to need the basics, which is single leg strength, stability, lateral movement. So you kind of like centralize it in the beginning, and then that's when you get down to the actual position, that's when you break it up into uh, backpedaling or working on kickstand and all that stuff. But yeah, so a lot of those guys they need explosion work. So traditional strength training is something that I tackle, but we also get a lot of single leg stability, single leg explosion work as well. Um, you know, that's for the most part what they need. Now, when it comes down to the specific man, it ranges. It ranges from position to position, like you say. But it's just you gotta know what's going on the field to understand what those players endure, play in and play out. So
Okay.
All right, love it.
Okay. It's two Texans that stood out to me and to the other guys, Roy Lopez and Derek Stingley. Could you talk about how they bulked up and what did they do different this offseason that they didn't do in the past?
So I actually didn't work with neither one of those guys, but I actually seen Stingley about a month ago. We had like a little game night, and he looked good, man. He looked like he's primed up and ready for the season. Just taking that next step, like I tell Kobe Francis all the time, from year one to year two is just um, planting that seed and actually taking that next step, whether it's physically or mentally, letting the game slow down for you. So. I'm sure those guys put in enough work this off season to, you know, add to the team value. So,
For sure.
yeah.
So I got a question for you. Is how do you think the differ of Kenyon Green is going to be this year? We know that he was nursing an injury last year and kind of won this year. Do you think BT's worried about how his play is going to be on the field? Do you think he's going to be stronger than ever, or
Yeah, I
what's your
mean,
thoughts?
I honestly think that the O line is going to be the strongest it's ever been, since LT stepped on with the Texans. Not just saying that because it's a new year coming. I just feel like they have some form of camaraderie, and some form of experience now. Kenyon just got done with his first season, getting his feet wet, understanding that it's a man's game. Like so, putting those into perspective, along with LT being on his side. I mean, you got a vet, and then you got some new centers coming in. So I think the O line, I think Kenyon, I think they all do well. Um, it's just the season is long. The season is longer every year. It feels like, but I feel like those guys got what they need at that position.
All right.
Let me ask you, of all the individuals that you've been working out with, because I've seen your videos, you've been working out with a ton of dudes. Like, is there anyone that has shocked you? Like, oh my God, I didn't really think he would take this next step this quickly.
Yeah, man, Kobe Francis, man. I believe he's gonna be
Been hearing
the
a whole bunch of good stuff about him in this whole off season. So good to hear.
yeah. I feel like he's gonna make an impact on the team this year. Just being with him day in and day out, just talking with him, and just chopping it up about football. Sometimes he's allowing the game to slow down for him, getting in the playbook, understanding what's going on, and then man, I don't know if y'all seen him. He's a very explosive guy, man. Very explosive guy. Um, Probably one of the more explosive DBs I've seen been around in the last few years. So I'm excited to see what he has to offer on the field, man. It's just from year one to year two, like I said with Stingley, man. It's just like you get your feet wet the first year, now you understand what's going on. So I mean, the sky's the limit for that guy, man. I hope he does good.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask one more question here. So you were a receiver, obviously, and do you think that having that background of being a collegiate athlete and playing football it just gives you some a unique standpoint when you're training these guys? And if so, like how and why?
Yeah, man. It's just like it's kind of like just comparing it to any type of job, just having experience. I've been playing the game since I was 8 years old. Then just coming from a high school that's impactful with powerlifting, leading up to college, it helped me. And then, of course, like playing ball is just like being in it. Like, so firsthand, just going back to 2014, going back to fall camp, it's a lot on your body, man. It's a lot that you have to endure, and it's a lot that people wouldn't understand without being in that realm, you know. So understanding that, going through that, I went through all the phases, all the way up into the mini camp with the Dolphins back in 2019. So I had a little taste of the league too. So I understand how it works, what those guys need, and kind of like what I put my body through for the last 10, 12 years, man. Like it all correlates. So yeah, it's
You get the hunger, you get everything. You understand the mindset of these guys. So
right.
that's awesome, man.
I still get chills. I was telling Kobe a couple of days ago. I said, man, around this time of the year, I get the chills because it reminds me of fall camp and getting myself ready. So I get that same energy still, that adrenaline rush. You know, just once you get into campus, close the doors, lock in, and get ready for the season, man. It's work. So
Yeah, because I mean, it's totally different, right? Like I remember getting the same chills Friday nights in high school, so I can only imagine, like you, the collegiate, the NFL. I mean, those chills just got to be out of this world, man. Like a different kind of high, right? Like,
yeah,
man, I bet that's awesome.
yeah. Just I mean, playing teams like Alabama, LSU is like the being in the SEC, like that adrenaline rush comes every Saturday, man.
Has it been one guy that you trained that you learned something from?
Yeah, I guess I learned something from all three guys that came with me and trained MJ, Kobe, and Christian Harris. It's just the mentality, man. Like I think they was riding a bike one day and we were going 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, and I miscounted a rep. I think it was like rep 4, and I said it was rep 5, and those guys was like, nah, man, it's rep 4. Like let's, you know. So the mentality of these guys are younger, of course. Well, MJ year 6, but the other two guys pretty young, and that just stuck with me, like the mindset that they have, and they don't want to miss a rep. So also just being a good human. I think a lot of times get in the league and get the big head a little bit, but just understanding like the people that you deal with day in and day out, regular people, man. So just treat them like humans, and I think a lot of those guys on the team do that very well. I've been able to be around majority of the team, and all of them welcome me like I'm a brother, like I'm on the team. So that's been very welcoming. So
Okay. Can you share something about LT that we don't know about?
that y'all don't know about. Is this like a blackmail type of thing, or like
No, no,
Nah,
we would
nah.
never.
man, just growing up with bro my whole life. We literally lived together majority of our lives, especially just growing up. But man, LT used to have an afro. If y'all didn't know that,
Wow,
yeah,
really?
he used to have a nice fro with a nice line. He had a nice edge up too, man. It was clean, and
So like we're talking like Ice Cube's old fro, or
man,
the baby
pack,
from
like a pack fro was perfect, man. It was picked out all the time.
Like the baby from Biggie's album, huh? Just
Yeah,
picking
picked out,
everything, huh? Yeah,
right.
everything.
So why did you get rid of it?
He didn't get rid of it, man. He didn't get rid of it. It just, some things
So
going
kind
on.
of like me, just fell out.
Yep.
Hey, I get it, bro. Life happens hard.
Life happens, man. So that and in high school, we actually had this play. I played outside receiver X, and he played left tackle. We had this screenplay where bro would just like run out to the corner and like smash him, and like I just catch the screen and go score. It was a good time. Just playing alongside my brother. He used to try to beat me up growing up, but I feel like that made me the person I am today.
I said the same thing about my brother. My brother's 5 years older than I was. I thank him every day for beating me up. Makes me stronger.
Nah, right on, man. It did, it has. But he's been a big brother like no other, man. I call him a gentle giant because on the field he's gonna smash you and block the mess out you, and then you get around him. He's a chill guy, cool, calm, collected. That's what it is.
So who got more in trouble, you or him, or
man?
both?
We get in trouble at the same time. If one was in trouble, the other one was in trouble. So that's how it went in the household with my dude. So we grew up
ride or die, huh?
Yeah, we grew up with that single mom, so she she had to take it out on both of us, just to let us know she's not playing around.
That's what's up.
Okay, VT, you got another question up there?
Well, since we're almost done, I just want to know if you want to tell the folks a little bit about Adumon Fitness, and if like basically just tell us a little bit about what you do overall, and because you train other dudes, right? So or females or whatever. So just tell us a little bit of what they can expect if they wanted to work with you.
Yeah, man. So I created Adumon Fitness solely off the model of adapting to change and evolving from the past, whatever that looks like in your life. So I do traditional strength training, but I focus in on the form and the stability aspect as well. So I have two divisions. I have the general fitness side, and then I have the sports performance side that I train. And I want to maximize the potential and minimize injury through my retro way of training. I would say it's retro because the different styles and the different exercises I put people through. It's just finding different ways to put the body essentially in the same way, but just different ways, if that makes sense. But
yeah,
man, I train kids, ladies, men, any sport. I'm in there early. I get up at 4:30 in the morning, and I get done around 2 p.m. So I'm an early bird type of guy. We work hard. I'm not the type of trainer that's going to yell at you, but I feel like my words make enough impact where you understand what's going on. I also do yoga. I tapped into yoga a couple of years ago, man. Actually, after I got done with football, and I just wanted athletes to understand that it's okay to get on the mat and get in tune with your mental and physical self. So
awesome.
Kind of add all that together, man. It's a great deal, man. I got around 30, 40 clients coming in day to day. So it's every day is a busy day, but it's a great day, to help other people out.
Awesome.
All right, sounds awesome.
I don't have a question, but hey, when you're working out with these guys down there, at Kirby Lane, just tell them, say, hey, go on the Texans fan battle. Just whisper it to them. Say, hey, great guys, great podcast. Jump on.
I got you, man. I got you.
Well, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Man, appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah,
appreciate it, man.
Hey, tell the folks where they can find you at and how they can support this black business right here.
Most
So
importantly.
you can find me mostly on Instagram at One Piece One. That's WONPEACE1. My website is attached to my profile, so you can find me there. Once you get to my website, pretty much it gives you everything that you would want to know about me and know about my business. And man, sign up for that first consultation so we can get down and get to your goals, fitness goals. I know the summer's almost over, but hey, this is a lifestyle, not just something we getting toward, you know.
I like that. I like that. Well, man, appreciate you for coming on, man. Tell LT all pro this year, baby.
Bro, y'all see
They've been sleeping on him already. They've been sleeping on
Oh,
him.
been
damn.
He should have
sleeping.
made it last year. For all reality, he should have made it last year.
Yeah, we was talking earlier, man, and we was talking about the Madden ratings that came out. He was like 99 next year. I said, yeah, man, we getting that 99 next year, 99 overall.
If he doesn't make 96 or higher, we're rioting. Like, we're taking it to the streets. Like, it's not fair.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but they've been asleep long enough, man. We the underdogs
wake
this
up.
year. Yeah, we're gonna wake them up, man. It's good to be an underdog, you know.
Exactly.
Catch them while they
Swap them around a
sleeping,
little
man.
bit.
Yeah, catch them while they sleeping, man. But it's gonna be a great season, fellas. I appreciate y'all having me on.
All right,
Thanks, man.
man. Take
Appreciate
it
it.
easy, man. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all too.
All right. So we had two great guests tonight. So we're gonna end the show like this. VT, tell the folks where they can find you at and your amazing work.
You can find me on Twitter at BrownWBear. I'm also on Threads, so same username, BrownWBear. You can find me on both. Me and Leo recorded a podcast yesterday, so it's the After Hours. If you are listening to the audio podcast of the Texans Fan Battle, you'll also get the Texans Fan Battle After Hours. We talked about DeAndre Hopkins, and we actually talked a lot about the running back market. So it's not necessarily just Texans news this time. It's a lot of running back stuff. We went through it for about an hour. So definitely check that out. And if you go to fanbattlesports.com, you'll catch my articles.
All right. Mr. Matthew Bridge, tell the folks where they can find you at.
They can find me at the A1 Day One Texans everywhere. Like I've been slacking. I need to do whatever BT's doing, not sleep. Maybe I can get some shit done. But yeah, you can find me doing some articles on the fanbattlesports.com website. So definitely check that out.
All right. And before I tell everybody where they can find me at, I want to dedicate this show to Mr. Tony Allen Briggs, beloved father.
Much love, man. Appreciate it.
Much love, man. So you find me at Fifth Ward Crenshaw. We out. Tune in next week. We coming back with the heat. Peace.
Peace.
This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you